In August 1963, 15 men stopped a train carrying millions in cash. They pulled off Britain's most famous robbery, then they got caught because one guy left fingerprints on a ketchup bottle. The robbery was months in the planning. A man named Bruce Reynolds led the gang, 15 criminals, most with experience in theft and burglary. They called themselves the Firm. They'd been tipped off about a specific Royal Mail train traveling from Glasgow to London. Every night, this train carried bags of cash from Scottish banks being transported to London. On certain nights, the amount was enormous. The gang recruited an inside man, someone with knowledge of the mail system, who could tell them when the train would be carrying the most money. August 8, 1963 was the night. The train would be carrying $2.6 million in unmarked bills, about $50 million in today's money. The plan was ambitious. Stop a moving train in the middle of nowhere, overwhelm the crew, steal the cash, and disappear before police arrived. They had 30 minutes maximum. The gang tampered with a railway signal at Bridego Bridge in Buckinghamshire. They covered the green light and rigged a red light using a battery and glove. When the train stopped at the fake signal, they moved. The driver, Jack Mills, stepped out to check the signal. One of the gang members hit him with a metal bar, knocking him unconscious. They forced the backup driver to move the train forward to the bridge, where the rest of the gang waited. The train had 12 cars. The second car held the cash, 128 bags of money. The gang formed a human chain and unloaded the bags into a waiting truck and Land Rover in just 15 minutes. It was almost perfect, but there was a problem. They'd hit the driver harder than intended. Jack Mills survived but was seriously injured. This turned the robbery into a violent crime, which meant harsher sentences and more intense police pressure. The gang drove to a remote farmhouse they'd rented, Leatherslade Farm. About 30 miles away, they planned to lay low for a few days, divide the money, then scatter. This is where everything fell apart. The gang stayed at the farm longer than planned. They played Monopoly with real stolen money. They left fingerprints everywhere, on bottles, glasses, game pieces. When they finally left, someone was supposed to burn down the farmhouse to destroy evidence. They didn't do it properly. A farm worker discovered the abandoned building and called police. Investigators found fingerprints all over the farmhouse. Within weeks, police had identified most of the gang. They arrested them one by one. The famous ones: Bruce Reynolds, Ronnie Biggs, Charlie Wilson, Gordon Goody. The trials were massive. The gang members received sentences totaling over 300 years combined. Most got 30 years each, unprecedented for robbery at the time. The judge wanted to send a message, but the story didn't end there. Several gang members escaped from prison. Ronnie Biggs fled to Brazil and lived there for decades, becoming an international celebrity. Charlie Wilson escaped to Canada, was caught, then released years later. Of the $2.6 million stolen, police only recovered about $400,000. The rest vanished. Some gang members spent their share before arrest. Others hid money that was never found. The robbery became legendary in British culture. Books were written, movies were made. The gang members became folk heroes to some, working-class guys who'd pulled off an incredible heist against the establishment. But the violence against the train driver changed public perception. Jack Mills never fully recovered from his injuries and died 7 years later. His family always believed the attack contributed to his death. The Great Train Robbery showed both the appeal and the stupidity of major crime. The planning was brilliant. Tampered signals, inside information, military precision. But the execution of the getaway was terrible. Fingerprints everywhere, staying too long at the farm, failing to destroy evidence. It's considered the heist of the century, partly because of the money, but mostly because of how famous it became. The gang members were household names. Their escapes made headlines. The whole thing had a cinematic quality that captured public imagination. So remember, 15 men stole millions from a train and almost got away with it. But fingerprints on a ketchup bottle brought them down. For more incredible crime stories from history, subscribe for new videos every other day. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.